Do you know who wrote books like The Cat in the Hat, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and The Grinch Who Stole Christmas? If you said Dr. Seuss, you're absolutely right. Today, we're going to learn all about this amazing writer, including what his real name is. Dr. Seuss was born in Springfield, Massachusetts on March 2nd, 1904. His real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel. When he was a child, his mother used to make up rhymes based on pie flavors to entertain him. Later in his life, Dr. Seuss would say that his love of rhyme came from his mom. And guess what? Her maiden name was Seuss, which was also his middle name. Did you know that Dr. Seuss wasn't really a doctor? In fact, the only reason he went by the name doctor was because his dad wanted him to become one. But lucky for us, he became a writer instead. When Theodore was 18, he attended Dartmouth College in New Hampshire. While there, he became the editor of a funny magazine called The Jack-O-Lantern. After getting into some trouble with his friends, he wasn't allowed to write for the magazine anymore. So, he decided to become tricky and used fake names so he could keep writing. Can you guess what one of his fake names was? Did you say Seuss? You're right. Before he signed his books as Dr. Seuss, he signed a few of his books using the name Theo Lessig, which is his last name, Geisel, spelled backwards. The first time Theodore Geisel used the name Dr. Seuss was for a cartoon he created for the Saturday Evening Post. Theodore graduated from Dartmouth and then went to Oxford College in England with plans to become a professor. While there, he met his future wife, Helen Palmer. They got married in 1927, dropped out of Oxford, and moved back to the United States. Before becoming famous, Theodore wrote advertisements for different companies. He was also an illustrator and a poet. He created political cartoons and made some animated films as well. Even though Theodore was a very creative person, the first book he published was turned down 27 times. But he never gave up. Eventually, his hard work paid off, and his book was published in 1937. Dr. Seuss also helped the U.S. government by creating posters and films which were used during World War II. Later, after the war ended, Dr. Seuss began writing 8 hours a day in La Jolla, California, where he lived with his wife. He was now a full-time writer of children's books. Here are 3 things you might not have known about some of Dr. Seuss's books. The Cat in the Hat only uses 236 simple vocabulary words. It was one of his most successful books and was also made into a movie. Seuss's editor bet him that he couldn't write a book using even less words than that. So, Dr. Seuss wrote Green Eggs and Ham. It only contains 50 different words. How the Grinch Stole Christmas was published in 1957. Dr. Seuss said the Grinch character was based on himself. He thought that he needed to get some Christmas spirit back, so he wrote the book to help him do that. In 1966, that book was made into an animated movie. It has since been remade a few different times. 24 years after Dr. Seuss died, a manuscript and sketches were found by the author's widow in their home. The book was called What Pet Should I Get? And was published in 2015. In all, Dr. Seuss wrote and illustrated over 60 children's books. They have been translated into many different languages. Though he loved to write children's books, Dr. Seuss never had any children of his own. But he spent his life helping children all over the world gain a love of reading. Dr. Seuss died on September 24, 1991, A special event is held in his honor every year. It is on March 2nd, which is also his birthday. The event is known as Read Across America Day. It is a day for people to focus on the importance of reading. Many of Dr. Seuss's books are used in schools throughout the world. The stories are fun and silly, creative and imaginary. Written in rhyme, they are filled with interesting characters and colorful cartoons. Before we end, here's a poem we wrote to honor Dr. Seuss. A famous man you surely know. Have you read his book? Oh, the places you'll go. He was called a doctor, but didn't heal anyone, except through laughter and a whole lot of fun. A famous writer with over 60 books. You've probably read one in a cozy nook. Have you tried his breakfast of green eggs and ham? Or met his good friend, Sam I Am? Have you heard of some troublemakers, Thing 1 and Thing 2? Or of a lovable elephant, Horton Hears a Who? At Christmas, some traditions include his Grinch, a green fellow who stole all of Christmas, every inch. Though he never had any children of his own, he spent his life making very many feel at home. Hope you had fun learning with us. Visit us at learnbright.org for thousands of free resources and turnkey solutions for teachers and homeschoolers.